I don't know what's going on, but there is some sort of energy that's, you just can't explain. When Adelaide's founding fathers were coming up with the idea of Adelaide, there was no plan for a jail whatsoever because the people were going to be law-abiding, perfect citizens, and it was going to be utopia, a paradise.
It closed in February of 1988, so it was a functional jail for 147 years. So I think it was the longest operational jail in Australia during its time.
We have on offer education tours for all different grade levels and tertiary as well. And also we do the children's birthday parties, which are mainly on the weekends. We also have 4 tour operators that operate here that do night tours as well.
So the mannequins have been here possibly since the 70s, I think. You know, some of them are very, very old.
That's not a ghost, by the way, that's a mannequin of the doctor. One of the doctors that was here when I was here, the prisoners nicknamed him Dr. Death. The
doctor's a great one, simply because no one knows he's there. So, you know, you walk in, you kind of know there's a room there, but you don't really look, and then you walk in there, something glances in the corner of your eye and that freaks people out.
They have sleepovers up there for school children. Last week I brought a group round, and this lady was a school teacher, and she'd slept up there with some students 20 years ago. But one trip they dared one of the girls to go and sit in the haunted cell. She got there and she was grabbed from behind. It was Ellis the hangman. That was his living quarters there. She was so hysterical they had to call her parents to take her home because, you know, they couldn't control her. She was terrified. He died in 1871, I think it was.
So all these people that were executed here are actually buried here by law. So there are grave sites here of those people. There are 34 marked graves and 11 unmarked graves.
Prisoners would stand on here with the rope round the neck and the hangman's knot. In the old days it was death by strangulation, but then they did the hangman's knot underneath and it snapped the neck. After an hour the doctor would go down 13 steps and it's 10 feet deep to make sure the person was dead. Inside here is the lever. There's a handle. Get your hand around the back there and pull it. That trap door would open and the people would drop.
The early days of when I worked here, I'm a feeler, so I'd feel an extreme heaviness and something, you know, certain areas, it would shift and move for me. I don't know what it is, but energy. I think that's a good way of describing what it is, an energy, and I just would feel uncomfortable, and especially the new building. I just call that the creepy building.
There's one particular cell in the new building which allegedly is the most haunted, and apparently it was the last cell they would ever put a prisoner into. Because in the morning they would open the door and that person would be a quivering wreck.
The manager, because that was solitary confinement, used to have to come in every morning and speak to every prisoner, any complaints or requests. Well, when he got down to the end cell on the left, and this prisoner in there was just getting out of bed, or his bed wasn't made, and the manager said, "Why aren't you ready for parade?" "Oh, that man keeps me talking all night long, he never shuts up." This went on for several mornings. So he said, "Right," thinking he was mentally challenged, "find out his name and I'll transfer him So the next day he came in, still wasn't ready. Why aren't you ready? Kept me talking all night long. Did you find out his name? He says, yeah, he's an Irishman called Charles Patrick O'Leary. Well, on the board, he's the second from the bottom that was hung in 1946. Now, there was no way that prison would know his name because I didn't know the names. That board was put up after the jail closed, and his grave is just outside with his headstone. His head would be touching that wall, and that is the most haunted cell.
There's this whistle that keeps happening in the new building. We keep getting it. Like, they keep recording it over and over again, and I'm like, what's going on?
So there's whistling, and then we've also heard, I don't know if you're familiar with this, or know anything about this, Charles O'Leary's sing song.
That's the who he's talking about. That's Charles Patrick O'Leary.
How would you say the nighttime vibe here is different from the daytime?
The moment the sun goes down, it's a different feel. You know, I know we use the word vibe, but it's hard to explain. Hopefully you get a chance to actually feel it. But you know, you walk in different places like the Hanging Tower, you walk into new building, it's completely different. It makes the hairs on your neck stand up. You have a sense that there's something here, but you just don't know what it is. I would probably class it as different energies, and it's, you know, different people are receptive in different ways. So for me, it's more or less, it's a feeling like I can sense there's a presence or many presences, or, you know, I'm a little bit on edge sometimes when you go through, but I've had other people who've walked around here, particularly in the evening, and they've heard footsteps or they've heard people shouting, and they've got other people with them and they know things have happened. So during the day, you don't tend to get a lot of that, but as the night draws in, it's almost like the spirits are out.
Shine.